Hello, it's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend. I'm back. It's a day. It's Sunday, January 8th, 2023. I hope everybody had a really lovely holiday. I forgot to put the list up. I've got Allie with 2 and Brian with 1 so far. I'm working on getting my website set up with an additional page with, I'm going to be doing psychic development circles. I'm going to start those again. This one's going to be, I think, a daytime during the week. I'm looking at Tuesdays during the day. I've had specifically a couple of clients ask me, hi, Allie, ask me for daytime circles. Somebody who's in Europe and then a person who's here. It just works better for her schedule. But I'm also going to be doing just message circles with 8 people, small groups, where I do individual messages the way I do for, I've done for Holistic Studies Institute and for the Spiritualist Church of New York City, where we meet. And hi, Evolve's dog. Oh God, I put your first name. I'm sorry. Here, I'm going to delete that. I apologize. Sorry, my fault. Yeah, I read your email. So I'm going to be doing like message circles. So there's like a little mini meditation in the beginning, and everybody gets an individual message. And it's like, I don't know, I love them better than this, but this is like this isn't any less, but it's just different. So anyway, I'm going to be doing those. They're small groups. I almost said it again. Hi, Linda. Goodness. I'm going to start those back up. So keep an eye out for that. I finally, oh my God, y'all, I hadn't done my books for like ever, for like months and months. So it took me a little bit to get like back on track. Because I have to go through, because my accountant doesn't take out, like you can write off all of your PayPal fees. And there's a lot of them because like PayPal fees for like all of these little individual readings. So I have to go through and figure those all out and figured out everything. And I think we donated $2,047 last year. The majority of that went to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Some of it went to ACLU. A portion of it went to Planned Parenthood, and a portion of it went to another world charity. I can't remember the name of it, but I did send it out in my email that I send out. So if you're subscribed, that's on there. And I think I'm going to offer some, like, I'll open up the circles and I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, I want to do something special for my subscribers. I have to figure it out on my email. Oh, wait. Oh, you paid for a question? Okay. Let me just open up PayPal and look at that. I'm going to caution you guys too, over on TikTok, there are some people making fake accounts and pretending they're me and reaching out to people and trying to get readings. And I won't ever reach out to y'all. You know that. So you know that here, you've seen that. And that's pattern. But just, be aware. If, double check, come to my main site and reach out to me here if you think anything's happening. And if it's not me, because I only have one account over there, which is my _spiritual_friend. If anybody is, please report them and block them and let me know, and I'll block them as well. I have my thing set so they can't download any of my videos, but somebody did the screenshot video thing and posted it. So I blocked them, but I got you, Linda. I'm going to go ahead and post that. So there's just a few of you here, which is not a problem. We'll get to everybody. Hi, Sherry. I think what I really love about donating to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey is a little goes a really long way there. So every dollar provides 3 meals, and food scarcity is real. It just is. It's real. It happens. So that's, you got to help people out. I don't have this, like, we do live in a capitalistic society, but I've watched people suffer because our healthcare system is messed up. And when I was a nurse, I watched somebody either have to, in order to be able to have their child at home and take care of them at home and not have to be in like long-term care facility, like a child nursing home, pediatric nursing home, they either had to divorce their spouse or sell their $2,000 car because they just were worth a little too much. And that to me is just bonkers and bananas that we are even in that, and that we are paying such high, you pay so much high for every monthly, your premiums or whatever, and then you have your deductibles and all of that stuff. And you're still not getting in to see, and you're getting denied care and everything else like that. And it doesn't happen like that. I don't know. And yeah, my taxes might be a little bit higher, but I probably would pay less with higher taxes than I do with the amount that we pay for all of that. Whatever. Call me a socialist. Oh, shit. I forgot my tea. Damn it. I need a drink. So can you wait for just 2 seconds and I'll do readings? I really need a drink when I go through these. Give me a minute. Okay, that's fine. All right. Squeezing. Thank you for your patience. Okay. Yeah. So, Allie, ask your question. While you're typing, you have 2 questions. Allie has 2 questions. While you're typing, I will answer Brian's question. I mean, you shouldn't have told me your name. I'm kidding. I will answer Yuval's dog's question. I watched your channel for years, agree with everything you're saying. Your heart and mind are aligned for the best wishes for everyone here and love. Oh, thank you for supporting me so much, Sherry. If you're on TikTok, I'm over there too. So I'm a little bit more active over there. I'm trying to figure a balance, I'm trying to put the work in this year. I say that every year, but I mean it this year. I'm even doing a lot of alignment with right. I'm into manifesting. And so like really putting the alignment in for having the knowledge and not the fear, like having the wisdom and the bravery to just post whatever, and know that it'll like go out to the right people. And then I watched this really cool thing so we had Gaia for the week free, and I watched, a couple different things, like some stuff on UFOs. And one thing was on like the CIA using, there's government, and then I don't know what sector of it, and then also the CIA using psychics to do like they didn't call it astral projection, they called it whatever it is when you visualize from a distance, and how accurate they were. And it's really cool to me. I don't know, I love anything where it's like, some people come in and they'll be like, that's not real. And I'm like, yeah, except for the government that uses us. So like, tell me how that's not real. And then I watched this thing though. It's like called the Moses Code, and Joe Dispenza's in it, and it's like at least 20 years old because he looks like a baby. But they're talking about when they say God appeared to Moses in the burning bush and Moses said, well, who should I tell them that I am in order to free the slaves? And he said, tell them I am that I am. And they're like, but there was a comma. So it should be, tell them I am that I am. So when you're doing your manifestation and you're visualizing what it is, you're trying to step into or whatever, the person that you are. And then when you finish it, I just felt like, oh, you do that visualizing, but and then from like a heart space of like, I am that. I am. I don't know. Try it. See if it works and puts you in a good heart space. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do Brian's because I said I would do Brian's first, even though Allie's first and last, and then I'm going to do your root canal question. Okay. Evolve stock. God dang it. Sorry. I'm not trying to be that person that just ignores it and is like, I'm so sorry. Like, I told you my name. Why are you calling me the wrong name? You're calling you the wrong name. Here. Okay, sorry. Evolve stock. I think this is about your partner because you were asking a question about your caregiver for your former partner. Um, do they have like I just felt like a lot of stomach issues. Hang on, we don't need to be saying any stuff. This is family friendly, minus my f bombs. Um, my like the I just felt like really, really tight in my stomach. I almost actually even felt like seeing tunnel vision, like I was in a tunnel and there was like light at the end. And I'm not saying that means death, but it was just this very like like my energy just felt really tight. But I also felt like not breathing well. So um, this leads me to feel like situation has advanced significantly since the last time you asked me about this. Hi, Joelle. Happy New Year. Hi, Nicole. Happy New Year. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Is it causing an issue with breathing because it's enlarged? Because I just felt like I'm not breathing deep enough, and the doctors aren't addressing it. Yes. Okay. So yes, it's advancing. Okay. So I asked why they weren't, and it feels like they're not because there's nothing they can do about it. There's no way to fix, stop, reverse, change. I saw a PayPal come in, so for whoever just paid one, just I saw it. I'll look at it in just a minute. Um, Sorry. Sometimes they give me information I'm not allowed to share, so it's not bad. It's just they're just like it's like I don't know. But the feeling I get is it's really important for you to so sometimes we go through little conversations. So if you see me sitting there going, "Hmm, okay, um I don't know why they showed me like you getting out and I know it sounds weird like playing basketball, but it feels like more like needing to connect with other caregivers and other like needing to start working on making sure you have a support system. Um it's really important for you. They're like getting paperwork in order, making sure everything is really, really in order. So maybe it means uh, getting your name on bank accounts, getting your name on bills and things like that. Yeah, getting your name on bills and things like that, so that when the time comes, because it doesn't feel like if, and I'm sorry to say that, and I'm happy to be wrong. Um, but it just feels like it will make the transition easier because it feels like if it's not done that way, because I don't feel like he has a trust, I feel like he has a will, and trusts allow you to, you don't have to go through probate court and everything else like that. And so it feels like if your name is on the accounts and on the things, it makes it easier than if you have to like everything freezes and then you're stuck and you can't pay for certain things and because you have to go through probate. So it feels like they're asking you to line stuff up. And not because it's going to be tomorrow, but this is the time. You're discussing it this week. Okay, perfect. It feels like this needs to be done. It's like it shouldn't just be a discussion and then like, oh yeah, I forgot we talked about that last month. It's like, really putting steps into action now. I do feel like there's going to be a point where he's not going to be um, always there cognitively. So I feel like he'll understand everything, but he'll have almost like expressive aphasia. So when someone has a stroke or any kind of brain injury, they can develop. So there's global aphasia, which means they can't speak for themselves and they have no clue what's going on. There's expressive aphasia where they completely understand everything, but they have a hard time either finding the words. And I think that might be actually what like uh, Bruce Willis has. He has something where he has aphasia where he can't find the words to speak. And I feel like this might be what your partner develops in and out of. So it's really important to get that stuff on board. Okay. And they're just reminding you, okay, so it's like, okay, you're doing what you need to be doing. This is all really good. It's all really hard, but it's all really good that you're doing this. Also, they're like, remember to, and this is, I feel like this is partly them and partly me, like having had a lot of experience, having done these readings and like on the other end of it, were they okay with what I did? Ask those hard questions, talk about those hard things. So like I've said to my mom, which I'm sure whenever I talk about death to anybody, they're like, are you seeing something? I'm like, no, but I was a nurse and it's really good to know. So I know my mom wants to be cremated. I know she doesn't really want a big service or any of that stuff. And I know that because I asked her, because it's important that I honor what her wants, needs, and desires are. Right. And because I never want to doubt it and wonder and be like, oh, did I do the right thing? Because I think that's senseless to put yourself through that when you're already going to be grieving. But their main focus for you two is to really make sure you're putting in a good support system for yourself. So if you don't have a huge group around you, find a therapist, find a grief group. You can start going to grief groups now. Find a caregiver support group. Because I get the sense that you don't have a lot of people that understand what you're going through right now, that you're sort of like in a, it's like, this is something that a lot of people would do, your age would do for elderly parents, and they're not quite there yet either. People are often download wills and civil documents into online specific to their estate they live in, and they can take that to have it notarized. It's much less expensive than a lawyer open up. Right. But what I was saying with like, if it is a will, that still has to go through probate. And so if there's things that need to be paid through the estate and he's living with them, and like, or there's bills that need to be paid, or there's something that where it would create an issue for Evolve's dog, it feels like get it all in that you're in joint accounts and joint things. So things can be paid for. So you're not stuck footing the bill for certain things. You can even prepay for certain services. It just felt like it's really important to make sure that you're taking care of financially to remove any stress or anything needed. Because if it's a will, no problem. But there's different facets to that versus a trust. Why do I know these things? Because the universe puts stuff in front of my face and I go, oh, that's really interesting. I don't know. I just like learning about, and it's not even like I'm searching. I'm like, oh, wow, that's interesting. Who knew? I didn't know that. And I'm like a sponge, like loving to learn different things. Like, I don't want to get caught up in everybody's drama and stuff. I want to, like, I'm ready to learn and absorb and like whatever is beneficial to make my life easier. I'm all about the universe bringing to me. I know this sounds like maybe, but they're saying like you are going to be fine and you can handle this. it just feels like they want to reiterate getting it done now, while this person is still cognitively able to make some decisions and really be like really being clear and specific. Why are they talking about a dog? Does this person have a dog? I know you're Evolve's dog, but I'm seeing like a bulldog, like an English bulldog. What might be the connection to English bulldogs or bulldogs? Was somebody a bulldog? Was like, I think there's a university that has a bulldog as a mascot. Okay. It might make sense later then. So maybe it's a doctor you talk to, maybe it's like they have like a bulldog jersey, or maybe somebody you run. I mean, it might, I don't know, but there's going to be some significance with this. So take that for what it's worth. Anytime I've said something like, oh, I get something weird, I'm like, I see a turtle. And this, I did a reading for a woman once. She's like, I don't know. And she said the next day they went in because they were having some issues with their son, and they went in, and the principal or whoever this was opened up a book, and it was a story about a turtle. And I'm like, okay, there you go. Yale has an excellent cancer program. And I don't know. I literally, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to stretch because you're saying that. Like, I know you want to help and be like, is this it? It could be that. I'm not sure. I can only give you what they get me or what they gave me. And I don't necessarily want to assign it when I just saw it as what it was. And I have no ability to place it as something. Wait, so is he part of the Yale system? Like, that's what I'm wondering. Because if he's already there, then like I'd be like, yeah, that's it. Or if there's a plan to already go there, then I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. But if it's not, it's just like, that's it. Then I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know if Ashley's here today, but Ashley came on my TikTok live on Friday and told me I had predicted for her, if some of y'all listen or come pretty regularly, like going south on a train to meet with somebody or whatever. And she said that happened. So I'm just telling you guys in case you're curious about the stories that you hear here. You researched it for a few months or a few months ago. Maybe. I don't know. Does his right hand bother him? I really feel like you need to talk to someone because it just feels like I'm bottling everything up and I don't have anywhere to go. And I don't, there's sometimes with caregivers though you'll feel resentful, but I don't feel that for you at all. I just feel like I'm treading water in an ocean and the waves keep coming and I'm treading and I'm doing what I can. And no one's going to like fully rescue you from this, but even for somebody to be able to sit and hold space for you and say like, yeah, like I went through that too, whatever, to not feel so alone out there. Like even to know that maybe there's other people out there treading water with you too, makes it less of a daunting process. He has cramps and it swelled after chemo. Okay. That's just a validation for what I'm getting is making sense. Is he on some kind of, did they put him on TPN or put him on some kind of tube feeding? Because I feel like I'm having a hard time really keeping food down. And it doesn't feel necessarily chemo related as so much as it feels like related to the stuff going on with his stomach. And I also feel like vitamin and mineral wise malnourished, like definitely not getting what I need. And I understand they're like, it's comfort at this point. I'm like, yeah, I get that. Like it's whatever he can take. Does he use CBD or weed or anything? Might be the route to go. He eats too much. I just feel like throwing up. Like I just feel like, ugh. So this might be something that comes. His B vitamins and iron are very low. Yeah. That's what I was like leaning towards, the B vitamins. Um, that might be something that's coming if I'm seeing him throwing up a lot. Are his hi McKeegan, are his, like I feel like his liver is enlarged or something's off with his liver as well. And they're also telling me his D is low as well. Hello, Tiffany. I see you. So I've got, I just want to say who I've got payments, so I don't have you on your list. So I don't know, is there anything you want to know specifically? These are just kind of things they're rambling through. Since you kind of asked if they had anything, and then I'll go back to Allie. Hello. Y'all, my Wi-Fi is like junk right now. The D levels of magnesium relative with the oncologist doesn't want him to take supplements. Huh. Why? I'm like so confused. Joel, I'll answer 2 questions for you. I'm sorry. I'm like reading, I'm like, I think I'm missing something there and I don't. It's my brain, not you. Um, oh, interesting. Well, that's the doctor. Okay, so I think that's more validation of kind of what I'm getting for the stuff that you can't really fully, but like stuff that when they're saying like you need to make sure you're doing these things and then do these things for yourself too. Um, just that you can at least validate that. I'm glad that you know that they're like that's the reasoning behind that. I don't know anything about that. I was not a chemo nurse, so um, that sounds like garbage. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you're going through this. It's really hard. I'm sorry your friend is going through this. I should say friend, ex-partner. Well, I appreciate you trusting me with this. As always with everybody, I know that you're all usually in a vulnerable place. It's not like you're, when everybody's doing really well, nobody's coming here for readings. Or when they're feeling totally secure and 100%, I don't get readings when I feel great and things are going great and there's no self-doubt or I'm not needing validation or anything. So, I get it and I don't want to take advantage of it. And I appreciate you trusting me with that. So, all right, Allie, let's look at your root canal and please like and share this with others and check my TikTok out too. I'm busy over there. It's so much easier to grow a following over there. Like I go on, I do a live and I get 200 subscribers or 200 followers over there. It's nuts. But I'm not making any money over there. And everybody doesn't get their questions answered over there. It's just, I kind of randomly pick people, whoever jumps out at me. Okay. Allie, root canal. It's not going to get worse. Oh, got you. Thank you, friend. I'm like, I don't know. Are you offer? I like did. So, I'm saying this out loud because sometimes people watch us back, whatever, or aren't seeing the chat. And it says, and Joelle said, I understand the confusion. I was saying that I'm offering support to Evolve's dog or anyone who needs, as you've been a caregiver as well. Yeah, it's just the pits. And just whatever emotion you're having, whether it's resentment, whether it's anger, whether it's just despair and loneliness, exhaustion, whatever those hard feelings are, just know that it's okay. It's normal. It's normal to like not feel that. It's normal to feel it. Just wherever you're at, honor it, and it's okay. It's okay. Like you're not alone. I think sometimes when we're going through hard times, then we're hard on ourselves about having the hard time. That like doesn't make it any easier, or we're hard on ourselves about whatever our emotions are. And the thing is emotions don't make sense. They're just full of motion and they need to move out of your body, and they don't have to be logical. Just like intuition is not logical. It just is. Okay. Allie, so I feel like are you still here, dear? Listening to me ramble. I often feel like when I'm doing the reading for the one person, like you just listen to me ramble and we'll drone on. I wonder if you're bored. I'm just on this end, so there's no. Okay, Allie. So it's gonna be fine. And actually, I agree. I feel like that will be the solution to whatever that feeling is in your face. Are they putting you on antibiotics for this? Because I feel like there might be like an actual like abscess in your gum or something where they're like decide to put you on an antibiotic for even maybe just like one dose before you go in or after or something like that, like a high dose antibiotic. Evol's dog, I hope that was helpful, by the way. Hi, Devry. Happy New Year. List is not closed. They haven't told you about that. Okay. So it's a feeling of having like a little pocket of an abscess, and they may decide to put you on an antibiotic, or they might pack it. I know that I'm almost positive when they do a root canal, they also pack it with antibiotic, but I feel like because there's infection in there, but I just feel like there might be like a little deeper abscess or something that they find. It does feel like it fixes it. And I feel like more sore than usual. So maybe they have to give you a little bit more of so whenever I go in, and this has been since I was a kid, I need more anesthesia. Like I have a high pain threshold. I didn't like labor was not painful for me at all. Like literally didn't know I was in labor with my oldest daughter. It was like 6 centimeters and fully faced. And I was like, they're like, you're in labor. I'm like, oh, am I? Like, I freaked them out because they're like, you're not feeling your contractions. I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. But like with this, like I always like, I don't know why, like they always have to like shoot me up with a lot of stuff. But it feels like it might be sore because they have to give you a little bit more, and it's like you're tender that way afterwards. So like the non-psychic side, but more of a spiritual mindset side is like when you expect something to go terribly, it's like remember your intuition is really calm, right? So it happens, you'll get a quick like brief like where it's like, oh, don't forget to pack that. And then I forget to pack it. And it's like, oh, that was my guides talking to me. It was really calm, whatever. Your ego, whatever, is going to be like, oh my God, it's going to be the worst. It's going to be like terrible. Like, cause it's trying to protect you, right? Cause that's how you got protected for a long time. But your Intuition is really calm. So if you're feeling like it's a naggy, anxious, whatever feeling, that's not your intuition. Okay. So just, you gotta like shut that little chatty brain up sometimes and just be like, listen, we're gonna be fine. This is a fully qualified dentist. This is all gonna be good. So before you go to bed at night, do the visualization of like, oh my God, I'm so grateful that I think I don't normally talk about being grateful and like you don't have to be in a really great mood and like whatever, but I don't know. I'm just enjoying doing it this way now. And I think there's a million different ways to manifest. I'm enjoying it this way right now. So like visualize, if you can't see or feeling better, whatever, visualize coming on here and being like, oh my God, Annalisa, I'm so grateful. It went so well, blah, blah, blah. And just like you said, whatever it is, or whatever. I was a little sore, but not as much as you thought I would be, whatever. So then you manifest the easier stuff, right? And then I don't know, just like before you go to sleep at night, visualize that. Like as you're a little sleepy, get excited, be happy, be grateful, all that kind of stuff. Okay, let me look at and then you have another question still. And then I've got Linda and Nicole with 2. Let me just write down my list here. Give me a sec. Rude. I have a TikTok song in my head. It's driving me nuts. When you'll get married? I'm kidding. I'll answer it. Jeez. How old are you right now? Because I'm hearing 26, so I feel like 2026 is a significant year. You're 33, so 2026 feels significant. I feel like you're so much younger, and it's not like, oh, you're so mature. It's more like just energetically you feel younger. You're not jaded yet. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I kid. You look really young, but I don't know if I've seen you. So that does nothing for me, dear. Um, okay. Oh, so I was like, okay, what does she need to know about this? Like whole, like what's going on? So 2026 seems significant. Also, it's sort of like taking the time to really look at your own belief systems about relationships, about your own self-worth and value, and like what you believe men are like, what you believe, how they show up, all of that stuff, and sort of like shifting your thought process on that. But also recognizing this is like a super weird time in experience right now, right? And it, so the part that it's like, dating is kind of going to suck for the next year and a half for a lot of people. And I mean, if you're gay, then you're fine and this isn't for you. Or queer, you're fine, this isn't for you. This is for like cishet people. And I say that because cishet men are just fucking, they're going through a transition period because they're really like, there's just a lot of shifts about how we show up, what our roles are, what our responsibilities are to ourselves and to others. And I mean that by like, emotionally speaking, right? You can't just be like, well, do the work for me. I didn't know. Right? That's for men, cishet men. Patriarchy is shifting. Just everything is shifting. And so gender roles are shifting as far as in this cisgendered space. This is not for queer people. I feel like if one time in existence so far, y'all are just really fucking riding high right now because, and I'm not saying that I want to say that like without understanding that I do really understand that there is been so much against you all the time, whatever. But like whenever I've talked to like my male friends that are gay, or even female friends, they're like, are they really like, oh my God. We talk about where cishet men are. Okay, Zebri, I'll find you. So focus on you right now and like looking at your belief systems and shifting those right now. And it's not because like whatever, but it's like because the space right now is like a really, for the like the next like 18 months or so is a tough space to be in. Because they're going through a lot of growth and a lot of self-realization and like, oh, the things that I was taught, like a lot of things that the women have been doing the work on already, men are starting to have to do that work. You've always thought that men aren't reliable. So yes, Devery, yes. So when we talk about like, when you're like, well, men aren't reliable, then all the men that show up for you, that's your main character story, right? So think of who you are as the main character of a movie. And when someone's writing a movie, they write a character description, right? And like the theme. So think of a rom-com. The woman shows up, whether it's a teen rom-com or an adult, it's like they're kind of a mess. They don't have it together. People don't respect them. They're always like kind of like whatever, or it's like, oh, they're just so hideous to look like, and it's like they have glasses on. It's just something like so insanely superficial and weird. And then by the end of the movie, it's like, oh, they go through this thing and they realize they are valuable and worthy, and like it's always like some man found them and realized it and found their value and worth. Like, no, we're going to skip that part. You're going to realize your own value and worth. And because nobody outside of you, it's funny. Nobody outside of you can make you feel valuable and worthy or can shift that belief system unless you got it when you were little from your parents, like you got that programming. But anyone seems to like, it's just so easy to dog you out and make you feel terrible, right? It's just a strange, sorry, I just like that just came to me. I was like, whoop, that scared me. What? You scared me. What's up, Buttercup?
Are you almost done?
No. What do you need?
When you're done, can I show you something?
What do you want to show me?
Your
Did you build something else with your little Lego candies?
No. I put it back in there and cleaned it up.
Oh, thank you. That was amazing. I appreciate that thoughtfulness.
And it's something else in my room.
It's something in your room? Okay. Did you start donating stuff? No. No? Okay. All right. I'll come up when I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I love you, Bugaboo.
I love you too.
I know, but I'm not, and people have paid for questions, so can you please let me do them? Thank you so much.
Yeah, Mom.
Yeah.
How long is this thing?
Don't know, but the longer you're in here, the longer it takes me to get out of here and get these questions done.
But how long is it gonna be?
I don't know, honestly.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring glasses.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you so much. Love you, Buggy.
Love
God bless you. God bless you. We need to get you a shower too, by the way.
Whoa.
Oh,
Whoopsie.
whoopsie. I love you.
I love it. Did it?
Yeah, you did. You did. Okay, you need a shower.
Thank you.
Okay, I love you.
I love you too.
See you later, alligator.
See you later, alligator.
After a while, crocodile.
After a while, alligator.
Okay. Remember, the longer you're in here, the longer it takes me to get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. She is like, she cracks me up. And you know how you know I'm working on I'm shifting generational stuff. So I love my mom. She came here for a week. But when I watch her interact, I'm able to, you take a step back when it's not you in the interaction. And I watch her and I'm like, oh, there's like a lot of belief systems that I got from my mom where there's like a lot of insecurities that were instilled. And I don't think she does it intentionally, right? But it's just like little things she says about like, oh, being hideous and growing older. And I think my mother's gorgeous. So I don't understand that. And but I really work on like with my kids, like we say affirmations at night before bed. And it's one of them is my opinions matter. My feelings matter. My emotions are like, it's okay. And so I teach them like, it's okay. I always tell them like, if they're like, I'm mad at you, I'm like, okay, I still love you. And I always say that like, that's okay. And I still love you. Like it's okay for them to be mad at me. And her feelings got hurt because my mom was joking around with her and she just didn't, it wasn't a great joke for a 5-year-old. Like it was like, she asked for a treat and my middle daughter she's like, well, I'll give Daisy one, but not April because, April, you told me I was boring because my mom was watching, K-dramas. And, April was like, that really hurt my feelings. She goes, can I have a private moment? She's like, that really hurt my feelings. And so then we talked to my mom about it and she said her feelings and said how she felt and set her boundaries. It was like, that's okay if daddy jokes with me, but I don't think it's funny when you joke with me like that. And my mom was a bit offended. And I just said, she's allowed to have those feelings and she's allowed to set boundaries just like you are. And so it wasn't like a big fight or a big moment, but it was like a big awareness that like when we do this work, we do make changes and we do shift generations behind us and generations ahead of us. So it's important to do the work and do the work while you're still single, before you're married, before you're in it, because it's harder to do it if you're having to integrate other people into that work too. So, when you're writing your main character stuff, just know that like, think of it as if you're writing a movie. You want you to show up like you are at that end of that movie. So if you have, and like, if you look at like a main character, when they write it, everybody shows up around in every single way to remind that main character of who they are, right? So at the beginning of the movie, people are showing up, reminding that main character that they're not valuable, they're not worthy, they're just a mess, they're whatever, right? And we don't always know where we're at when we're working through stuff. We don't until something happens and you're like, oh, like it's working because there's an event that occurs where it just kind of all falls into place. So it's not that you'll necessarily always know that it's working. It's just that eventually something happens and you see the shift. So while you're in line, while you're waiting, while you're trying to get everything, you're like, because it's a knowing. You're not always going to be alone. Shift it from like, well, is it possible? Of course it is. There's 7 billion people out there. Hi, Rathka. So just do the work though now. I wish somebody would have said, do the work now when I was single, because it's harder to do it and integrate other people into it. It's harder to do, I wasn't doing the really looking at my own triggers and my own stuff when I had I've been a totally different parent to my first child than I am to my third child. I did get dysregulated. I did like get snappy with her. And unfairly. And I admit that to her, and we're working on repair and all of that stuff. And I wish I was told this in my teens too. Before that, I'm doing, and people don't understand me, but I'm beginning to worry that the train never passes you by. So first of all, that, and then also, and I want to say, like, we have the idea that you're too old is a societal thing. It's a society's thing of putting value on women like they're chattel, and like they're only valuable when they're 20 and have a teenage body and look a certain way, and their thoughts and their ideas aren't valuable. You aren't too old. My cousin got married at 38, I believe, or had somewhere around there. She got married older. Her husband's like 7 or 8 years younger than her. And she's happy. She's had 3 kids. Like, stop putting value and worth on whether or not you're with somebody. That doesn't give you value and worth at all. And literally all of these belief systems around what our value is has been based on some man trying to keep us under their thumb. And I hate to say that way, and it sounds like angry old white woman, but just observe. People control people through fear, through doubt, through minimization, dehumanization. It's very interesting. Just observe the world and observe patterns and observe marketing. That's a really great way that you look at, like, you're like, oh, that's a marketing tactic to find your weakness and the thing that's, and decide that, tell somebody they need to purchase a product on it. The list is open, Rothka. I'm just rambling. Okay. And also because I see a lot of people, and I did it. I was there too, of thinking like, oh, will I ever meet anyone? Am I always going to be alone? Nobody will ever love me. All of those things. We've all been there. And that's another thing that I say with my kids every night. I am loved. I am lovable. I love myself. We say that every single night. Because a lot of people don't know that they're lovable. And I don't ever want my kids to ever, 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 ever think that they're not lovable. And that's why when they're angry, I say, it's okay. I still love you, because it is. It's okay to have all of those emotions. I wasn't we're talking about my middle daughter. She's almost 10. And she's like, they didn't let you have emotions. I was like, no one really cared. Like, you weren't really, it's not that you weren't allowed to have them, but you better go have them by yourself and not bother anybody with them. If you're happy, that's great. If you're content, that's great. But if you're not, they don't want to know about it. And that was in school, that was in family. And I always hear like, but you should have seen how, I'm like, I get it, but it doesn't mean you can't do better. The 8 billion people in the world, you're right. Why worry about a small amount of men and their non-factor words? Exactly. The other thing is like New York dating taught me, like, there's literally a man every 5 minutes. It doesn't matter. And you're just like, you'll meet one eventually. You will meet one eventually. Hang on just a second. I'm rambling, and now I feel like I'm not answering. Linda, what's your question? I'm just going to assume that my rambling is because somebody needed to hear that message. And Deb read this. And. 'Cause, 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 I decided that, oh, I don't know why I just like telling people this, but hang on. I'll read your question first and do this. Um, I may have an opportunity to go to India to see Arjun in March. How do you see the trip going? I'm worried about my back and the long travel. Would later in the year be a better time? So I'm seeing March. Is that when you're planning on going? March is an option. Okay. I feel like that's when you'll go. I know this is going to sound weird and I know you have a lot of back problems, but I felt like, do you ever do those, like they look like dead bugs, or it's a Pilates move, but it's like a modified version to help strengthen your core muscles and your pelvic muscles, which will help with your back a little bit. Um, I feel like you'll be a little bit sore from the flight, but I feel like you're either going to have like the extended room for your feet or something where you'll get like either some extra space, so it won't be quite as bad as you're thinking. And I feel like you'll find accommodations to help ease the discomfort. So I don't know, that's whether it's like bringing little heating packs with, or I don't know, like a lumbar pillow. Oh, you said Arjun in March, and then I just said March. What a ding dong I am. Sorry. um, um, that's why I'm seeing March. Boy, she's psychic. Uh, I feel like you'll go in March. I don't feel like you're going to go later on. I feel like the weather will be nice, and it'll work out better. And I feel like you're over the hump of whatever these, like the big waves of COVID and stuff that are going on right now. Um, and maybe I know this sounds weird because I'm like, well, what would help her back? What's she going to do? Because I keep feeling like it's not going to be as big of an issue as you think it will be. So I don't know if it's like doing like while you're on the flight, the Joe Dispenza meditations for healing or something like that, or doing some kind of healing meditations. You're afraid to go so soon. I don't see it. I feel like it'll be like nice weather and it'll be okay. Literally, when I answered that, it's like now I think like someone, if someone didn't know me and hadn't seen me work, they'd be like, "What a." She just literally said March. Like, oh, I see March. Jesus Christ. I think that means that I'm not getting any other month other than that. Like, so sometimes they'll show me like September or whatever, but I literally like it's not happening. So it's like it feels like if it doesn't happen, then it, even though you're like, oh, it may happen later this year, I feel like there's not an opportunity for it later on. So it's like it sort of feels more like a now or never kind of thing. I also keep feeling like make sure that you have ideas of things you want to do while you're there. like plan day trips or whatever, plan sightseeing and stuff that you want to see. Cause I feel like if you leave it up to him to be like, oh, I want you to see all these special places or do like, I feel like you'll be disappointed because I don't feel like he has that kind of foresight to make a plan for stuff to do. Like that's a rom-com guy. That's not a typical. There's some men out there like that. I'm not saying every man is that way, but I don't feel like that's him. So I feel like it's like if you were like, oh, I want to go see X, Y, and Z, he'd be like, yeah, let's go do it. But I feel like if you leave it up to him to do the planning, you'll be disappointed because he's not going to do it. Okay. So even if there's like a place you want to eat or whatever, or if there's a food you want to try, just it feels like you need to say that to him. I don't feel like you'll regret growing. I do feel like you'll see things a little more clearly and it'll give you a clearer path forward. 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 Sorry, making fun of my my 5-year-old that you just saw, almost 6. She was like, they've been watching Harry Potter, her and my middle daughter. My oldest daughter has 0 interest in pretty much anything but Roblox. That's like that is her hyper focus interest, super interest, special interest. But and sometimes painting and things like that. But my youngest, so they're practicing their British accent. But my youngest is funny because it's like really not, but it's funny. She'll be like, I'm British. And I love her. Anyway, I don't think you'll regret going, but I do feel like it'll give you a lot of clarity that you have been lacking. That even when, um, because sometimes even if somebody's telling us something, I think I'm this way a little bit. Like I had a couple people being like, you should go do TikTok. You should do TikTok. And I was like, no, I was so resistant to it for many reasons, all in my head. And then it turns out like I really like TikTok and it's a great platform. I don't like the fake accounts and I don't like the way they handle fake accounts, but I like the platform and I like, I like the algorithm and it pushes out a little easier and things like that. But sometimes when somebody tells me something, I have to see it for myself, even if they end up being right. So I don't think you'll be regretting anything. I just feel like you'll get clarity and understanding that you need, that you can only really get and through that experience, right? No matter what somebody tells you. So like even I studied in nursing, I would see a disease process in a book or a setup for a device or whatever. And I'd be like, oh, okay. And then it was still not really a tangible idea, right? It was there and I was like, okay, but it's still so removed. I'm still so removed from it until I saw it in process. I was like, oh, now I get it. Right. And it feels like, oh, now I get it. I know this is random, but I'm going to send you a pic of me, Annalisa, so you know what I look like young, that I look young. Okay, great. I love that. No, I'm fine with that. It's sometimes nice. So this is the thing this is why I don't like doing phone readings or I'm reticent to it. And I prefer Zoom because when I connect, I'm already connecting with you when you're purchasing the reading and we're going through the process of finding dates. And there are some people generally, this is why I resist putting up a calendar because I don't want to book you. I won't book you same day, but I don't even want to book you the next day because you're in such a state of like frenzied, oh my God, I need to know right now and everything's going terribly wrong, that you won't receive the message. And you know that I don't sugarcoat things and you know that I just kind of give it like I get it. And it's not always, I try to be gentle, but like it's not what you want to hear all the time. Devery, you can attest to this over and over and over. I got you it for another one, Tiffany. So, sometimes it's nice having the picture different. I got it, Tiffany. Okay, so let's move on because now I'm just rambling. Nicole, Joelle, if you guys want to start asking your questions, let's get moving on this. Let me be a little more productive, a little less rambly. Well, shit, I didn't mean to do that. Sure, if you can do my first question. My close friend's mom passed away this week. She had cancer, but her prognosis was another 3 years. What's her first name? And I feel like what I'm getting is like they missed something on a scan. So, like maybe her tumor was it literally feels like they missed, like it was hiding on the back of a organ or whatever, and somehow the scan didn't pick it up. I also get the feeling that and this is not this, and none of this is medical malpractice, right? Because even where whatever this was, they wouldn't have been able to surgically treat it anyway. But I also feel like you look at side effects of chemo or some of the treatments that she did, and it's like, well, rare instances, you develop, I don't know. I don't know that this is what it is, but I'm just throwing it out there. Like some kind of blood dyscrasia where like, so thrombocytopenia or something where I don't even know if that's considered a blood dyscrasia, but like something where it's rare, but if it happens, it's fatal. It feels like something like that. Did she complain about, so this is the hard part about this, is that I can't really say like, did she complain about these things? Because you probably can't answer it. He should not blame himself at all. It's a combination of like unfortunate events. Also, I think there are many doctors who are so reticent to diagnose, to predict a time frame for this very reason. Did she complain of left ear pain? And does Dennis happen to have an ear piercing, or which seems like not common now? I don't think men get their ears pierced as much as they used to. Oh, I guess they do. Ignore me. There's something about a left earring, so that might make sense to him. Maybe at a point he did, or maybe there's something with her left ear, but there's something about a left ear. I just feel like she felt terrible all over because I've got low back stuff going on. I got stomach stuff going on. And I also have this like absolute rejection of wanting to be a burden on somebody else. And I know it sounds terrible, but I hear her saying it's a blessing in disguise. Like to go that quickly. For many reasons, because I feel so her having a fear of being a burden, but also like the anxiety and fear of worrying about the expectation of what happens when she dies. My lips are chapped. I use A&D, which is, I know you put it on babies' butts, but a lot of doctors will tell you to use that or Aquaphor on scars to help heal them and things like that. We used to put it on our long-term patients behind their neck when they had trachs to help prevent skin breakdown. I learned that from the CNAs. And even though some of them were not very nice to me, they were fantastic caregivers, and I respect them for that. I don't feel like he'll feel her presence because I feel like it freaks him out. I feel like she might have joked about haunting him, and he was like a little freaked out and disturbed by her seeing him in the shower and stuff like that. I feel like that was a conversation that maybe was like joked about. I do feel like she'll visit him in dreams, but I don't feel like he'll feel her presence because it feels like it would really creep him out and freak him out. Does she have, or do they have, does he have, she have, there's like a dog I'm seeing, and it feels like it looks more like a mutt with maybe a beagle mix. Yes, what? It's his dog. Okay. So I feel like his dog sees her. And I also feel like she's fed the dog scraps a lot. And there was an issue about the dog eating scraps. I feel like was her feeding it and him being like, stop doing that. It's not good for him. And I feel like she's still somehow going to find a way to feed him scraps. My hair was so wet when I came down here. It's still really wet, but like, so then it looks kind of like mullety. I cut my own hair again, y'all. Because TikTok convinced me that I am great at it. My mom caught the straggles, but yeah. No, it's not bad. I've had worse from a hairdresser before, so I'll take it. I'm so high maintenance. Okay, so I hope that's helpful. What's your second question? I'm going to move us along here because I'm talking too much today. And if at a point you're like, Annalisa, move this shit along, you can tell me. I won't take offense to it. I know I ramble. Okay. Dave. Okay. So I don't feel like he's totally out of the picture. Remember I was talking about not wrapping yourself up in the value of like being with somebody? Yeah. I just feel like it's like still like for you, just the same with others too. It's just really main character vibes. Like really work on your main character vibes. Like look at what you think is showing up right now. Look at your blocks and your beliefs about relationships. What are your belief systems about relationships? How do men show up in relationships? How do you think they show up in relationships? What happens in relationships? How do they turn out? I guarantee you that it's not just about romantic relationships. It's connected to um, familial relationships and friendships and what you're worthy and deserving of and how people show up. And, people are just superficial. They're just surface. They don't want to be really connected, whatever it is. And it looks like just working on repatterning and reprogramming that. I was listening to a really great podcast. It's on YouTube and it's Danica Patrick. She's the race car driver, and Joe Dispenza. And it's like an hour and a half long. Listen to that. I don't know. I mean, I know I say this a lot and I feel bad because I feel like, well, it's just a kind of like what I've learned and what I get through a lot of readings and like just seeing everybody in positions where I used to be, where it's like, oh, that's why I struggle. I see it from such a different perspective now. It's like, and a lot of it came down to self-concept and how I felt about myself and what I was willing to tolerate and what I was willing to put up with. And like, really and truly, the people that like, it's like, even if it was just a matter of you being like, I am a fucking badass, like he shifts and he does something differently because you're not worried about getting your value and worth from him. You're just like, I'm a badass. Do you want to hang out with me or not? Like, what's your problem? Why wouldn't you want to hang out with me? Like, it feels like shifting it to that. I don't know. And that happens in friendships. Like, so when we struggle in that with romantic stuff, you'll see you struggle with that in friendships and stuff too. And also remembering, like, if you're authentically you, you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. You're just not. And that's okay. Because the right people show up. And again, like the other part of it is like, it's just a rough time because if you're cisgender, heterosexual, this is like a big shakeup. Big shakeup time. So I asked year, and it's like 2023 feels like the year for you. But it feels like stop with the self-doubt. Just like remember I said with like my kids, like where you wonder if you're a good parent, like, does this even work? Like, are they really building these skills? And then you have something that happens. You're like, yeah, they really are building these skills. This really does work. Like my youngest, can I have a private moment, mommy? This really hurt my feelings when Nini did this. And then like going to Nini and saying like, this hurt my feelings. And like having that conversation and having it be, even if my mom didn't receive it in a great way, whatever, it ended up being okay. And also she got heard and she knew that I had her back and was like helping her through that. And like, oh yeah, that this is okay for her to have these feelings and reinforcing that this is all okay. It's those things, those little things where it's like as she gets older, it's going to shift everything for her. And she's maybe not going to have the struggles that I had. And it just feels like even as I'm doing the work, experiences have come up where I'm like, oh, I have more, instead of feeling like I don't have the strength or whatever, it's like I'm more empowered. And it just feels like it feels really important for you to work on being empowered. My tagline is empowering your journey. So I feel like if I don't talk about this stuff and don't keep reiterating it over and over and over again, then I'm not doing my job. And also, sometimes we need to hear stuff over and over again. And one time it just clicks, whatever it is, something clicks. You get something different from it each time. But it does feel like yes, and really, really keep working on focus on self-concept. I didn't just do the affirmations and like all of a sudden I'm like, okay, self-concept's great. It's like, it is a continual practice. Just like I didn't like do the readings. I'm like, all right, I've done everything I can with intuition. Like, fuck it, I'm done. Like, no, I keep honing, practicing, learning new things. My spiritual beliefs have evolved drastically over the years. Your self-concept will evolve drastically over the years, but it is a continual process. So I think we get stuck in that we think that it's like, we're supposed to just like, it's supposed to be fixed and done. Just like you fix a radiator on the car and then it's done and whatever. It's like, it doesn't work that way. computer systems are continually updated, and Google's always updating. I don't know. Okay, so it does feel like it will, and I saw 2023 as being important. And it may even be Dave, but I don't know, honestly. I feel him hanging around. And also, sometimes when we haven't done the work, we put a lot of value in somebody who's not worth that effort. Joelle, if you want to ask. What's your dad's first name? I know. It's not what you want to hear. But I also feel like if you want to hear all these wonderful things like that maybe isn't really valuable, but sure sounds great, there's those random readings on TikTok, tarot cards. But I believe in shadow work. And I believe that there's like, we grow and heal through that work and through recognizing like, yeah, I got work to do, and that's okay. I got work to do. And I'm like always excited. Like I get excited about it. I saw like literally watching those videos. I'm like, oh, another way to learn, another way to do this. Like I can, and I still, I still have self-doubt. I still have all of that stuff, and I'm working through it because I'm like, no, wait, this does work. It does work. I've watched it work for other people. I've watched it work for me. I do believe in multiverse stuff. I do believe that like there's glitches in the matrix. I do believe in the Mandela effect, but I don't spend a lot of time. Like I used to like be really like, oh, let me like, what are all the things? I don't, because it's like, that's not going to help me advance in where I want to do. Like even acknowledging it's like, okay, well, yeah, sure, multiverse exists. That's just proof of it. Who cares? Whatever. It's not going to help me move in the direction I want to go with the self-concept and actually getting the desires that I have to be, a pie in my hand instead of just a picture on the wall of a pie. And I'll never teach you guys anything or tell you to do anything that I'm not already doing myself. So I literally put an IV in my hand in front of a kid when I was a nurse because he was so freaked out. I was like, I'm going to show you that this is okay. And I will never do anything to you that I would not let anybody do to myself or do to myself. Maybe it's a little sadistic, but I did it. And it was in the ER. And they didn't give a shit that I did that either. Okay. Joelle, your question is about your dad. What's your dad's first name? Tufik. Sorry. So. I feel like later in the year, and it does feel like I see a woman with, she probably dyes her hair. Oh, sorry, my curls are, well, see my grays there. It might be considered like sandy blonde, darker hair. It's not blonde, but it's definitely not like my hair. It's like it's a lighter shade and it's got some highlights and stuff in it. But she feels older. She doesn't feel like he's dating somebody really young. It feels, I don't want to say like judgmentally age appropriate, but it just feels like more on the lines. And I feel like she may be a widow. I feel like she's a lot of fun and really lighthearted for him. She's very independent. Okay, Joelle. I don't want to like judge, age gaps and stuff like that, but it doesn't feel like your dad's dating your best friend. There's no weird, like it feels, age range appropriate, gone through similar life experiences kind of stuff. I had got a lot of guy friends who would date women a lot younger than them when we were, and they were in their 30s and they date these really, really young women. And I thought it was weird then. And now that I've had some changes of like when I was younger, even in my 20s, you would see these like rom-com movies where it's like, oh, he left me for a younger woman. And like the older woman was like totally devalued and whatever. I'm like, oh no, he left you for like now that I'm at this age, I'm like, no, he left you for a younger woman because he wasn't emotionally available or mature enough and she doesn't know it yet. She's willing to fall for the bullshit still. No. I I don't hate men. I'm just seeing things clearly now, a little differently. The bullshit stories we've been fed. Okay, Tiffany, are you here? Or Joelle, you have another question? What was your other question? A general one for you. Okay. And then Tiffany. So I feel like you've really done a great job on opening up your solar plexus and like, so your solar plexus is about how you relate to the world, how the world relates to you and self-esteem and like just standing in your own and learning to really do that work of loving yourself and expressing yourself as you need to, because I just felt really light and sunshiny all the way up, like through my heart chakra, through my throat chakra. Like it just felt like a lot of opening up and really opening up to your third eye. So they're talking about really being great at visualizing what it is you want and the state you want to be in, but also getting a lot of information through your third eye from guides and intuition and dreams. And they're saying that's going to open up further for you this year as well, like really deeply connecting with your intuition a lot better. And the feeling I get is like, oh, I have TMJ or I have a tightness in my jaw. And I feel like that's going to also become much more or distinctively less this year is probably what I want to say. I hear ice scraping. So did you just clear ice from a walkway or something? Oh, it's icy there. Okay, good. Good. I'm glad I got that. Um, okay. I think that's a really good validation because it's something so like, I don't know the weather where you're at. I'm certainly not checking it. And I didn't know you would be here today. So I just feel like that's a really good validation for you to trust that what I'm getting is, like, oh yeah, they see it. They know it. You're going to be doing these things. I also felt money. Okay. Cause I was going to say this. I felt like money is going to be flowing to you a lot easier this year. It's going to be, it feels like it's like a continuous constant, right? So it's happening regularly now instead of like where it'd be like maybe you'd have like more of a this, it feels like a steady. I'm so glad I always predict right for you. It's a lot of pressure. Because you know what? I want you all to have the best. So when I predict the stuff, I'm like, it's a long wait for you, or you have to do the work. I wish I could be like, you get a good, you win the lottery and you win the lottery and you win the lottery. So, okay. All right. Wouldn't that be great? I'm just saying. Won't it be amazing when I win the lottery? I'll take it. Taxes and all. Okay. Tiffany, Devery, and Rothka. Tiffany, are you pregnant? Tiffany, are you here? Mm-hmm. I feel like I need to get another little plant or something. I need to repot these. These are still the grocery store pots. I got them at the grocery store. They're still the pots from the grocery store. So they need to I need to cut like the bottom third off because somebody on TikTok who's a plant guy. And he was like, but he's got whole potting soil mix and I just don't know. I'm just going to do put some eggshell in there and but I want to put it in a little bit different pot. Tiffany, are you here? I'm just rambling. Okay, if Tiffany's not here, Joe, let's see, Devery or Rothka, if you want to ask your questions. Anyone? Bueller? Oh, there you are. Oh. So what do you want to do, Tiffany? Do you want to text me it and then I can always ramble? Oh no. There's a little hair on my hand. This is one of my kids because it's long and blonde. You're working on it. You're not pregnant. You sure? Is there a possibility? I stopped by a friend's house today because I was picking up, her son is in a Broadway play called Leopoldstadt. And I'm going to go see the play one day this month, on a Wednesday in the middle of the week. And because then I can hang out with her a little bit. And it's I get a better seat because it's not, whatever. Trying to conceive still, and it still sucks. He found out he has bilateral varicocele. Okay. So I know that there that seems like another barrier, but I still feel like you'll be able to conceive. That and if I'm randomly getting that pregnant feeling, are you pregnant? It doesn't feel like it's that far away. So there's some kind of fix for this that it feels like it'll be okay. So I don't know if they harvest it or I don't know what they do with sperm. Honestly, I wasn't a fertility nurse, so sorry. I feel like everybody just got the same image of harvested, but I didn't. Sorry. Um, yeah, so I feel like there's a way to fix the condition and a way around it, whatever, but I feel like it'll be okay. But I also feel like you're going to get pregnant. So, oh, you're not a visual thinker? I think how does I don't know, I just everything comes to me in like visions and thoughts and sounds and like okay, do you have I'm sorry, this is like random sidebar, but do you have the thing where you can't visualize? There's a name for it. I don't know what it is, but I've seen it around the like neurodivergent forum, like TikTok stuff. Um, so I feel like then maybe it was just me, sorry. um, Interesting. Um, so that's a really good like see how like we that shows you that we all get things differently psychically and intuitively too. They will use us whatever routes channels we have that are easiest to get the convey the information. So I think because I'm open to like whatever, I don't care. If you want me to feel it, if you want me to see it, you want me to just know it, you want me to hear it, I'm fine with it. But some people are more comfortable with a specific route. Okay. So sorry, Tiffany, to off onto that another thing, but I feel like it'll happen. And I keep feeling this feeling of like to say like, so one, you got pregnant once, so it feels like it's gonna happen again. Um, oh yeah. Um, it feels like this, like a thing where like one of my friends had where her first pregnancy, he had a fertility issue and he had to take something like Clomid or whatever because he had, I don't know if it was a low count or whatever, right? Same thing. But he took Clomid, not her. I think it was Clomid, whatever that, that a woman normally takes. He took it and they got pregnant. And then the second time around, it was like, he's thinking, oh, I'm going to have to do that again. And then I was like, no, you're not. You're going to get pregnant. It's going to be fine. It's going to be easy. It's going to be easier than you think. And she got pregnant without any intervention. She was like, I'm going to trick him into it because she wanted another. And he was like, no, I want this one. Probably not the best, but they love their kids. He's a good father. They're still together, all of that stuff. But yeah. So it just feels like it'll happen. It's not going to be as hard. There's still like they're going to do something for that, but I don't know. I just feel like it's going to be sooner than you think. So just have fun. Don't get busy with the idea of there has to be a goal in mind. Just have fun and enjoy each other for now. So it's sort of like we're going to go with the idea of like we'll go the route and try and we need to do surgery or whatever we need to do, like looking at harder things. But in the meantime, let's just have fun and enjoy each other. And when you're fertile, it's like egg white, right? Your cervical mucus is like egg white. So those are your fertile time. That's your fertile time. So just have fun in the meantime. Okay. So if that's too TMI, I think we're mostly women here. And if you're someone who can't handle it, I'm sorry. I was a nurse. These are normal bodily functions and they should be safe and able to talk about. What was your other one, Tiffany? Oh, well, don't do it during COVID. Okay, so what if he feels good enough to, and you just tried a little turkey baster, a little home turkey baster action. Just saying. Weirder things have been done. I don't know. You don't have to do that. That's kind of weird. Your brother. Okay, ask about your brother. What's your brother's name, Tiffany, and what do you want to know? So Jeffrey, your question, I do feel like you'll be fine. I also feel like, they are trying to sell a product. So they're doing that as another avenue and outlet. And I listened to a lot of that stuff and I'm like, obviously they did it without necessarily having to do that. It might not hurt to get to take a quick online course or find a book or find some kind of help on like SEO, which is your that kind of stuff, which is like, like how to tag stuff and find the right links to everything. But I feel like you'll be okay. It can get really overwhelming. I also feel like looking at shops that have similar items from what you're selling and find the shops that have sold the most and look at what their keywords and their tags are and what their titles are of their items and put that. And really also understanding that you learn through trial and error when you're building a business, a small business, even through something where everybody has been selling on Etsy, whatever, you learn through trial and error. So my business, I learned a lot through mistakes. So I used to let people reach out to me and I'd be like, oh, let's schedule it. And they'll pay me with the reading. And then like they either would be like, oh, I can't do it now. And like they'd cancel. And I've set aside this time where I could have done something else. So I finally got to the point where one woman, I was like, can you pay me? Your reading is tomorrow. And I was like, and I just canceled it on her. I was like, you don't have a reading anymore. Like you were supposed to, I asked you to pay me. Like I sent you the things. Like she had no problem responding to stuff. It just never would pay me. And well, I don't know anybody else. I was like, too bad. Sorry. Because I got frustrated with somebody not respecting my time. And like, you just learn. I don't feel like as soon as I read beauty products, I felt like, no, it felt like that was not a good idea. Okay. Let me see. I'm going to run back to Tiffany really quick and then I'll finish on yours. Tiffany wrote, mother's very narcissistic and has grandiose kind of outlook on his business, family, and financial risk. Trying to do these get rich quick schemes. Khalil exploited our mom and tends to be overly optimistic about things to his detriment. Do you see him ever becoming more stable financially and career-wise? No. Mm-mm. I feel like his wife picks up the slack. See if his son, like, is his oldest a son? Because it feels like having the son come back and be like, oh my God, another one of those stories, and like sort of like choosing a very different path and a very stable path because of that. But literally, I like don't see it changing. And the thing I see with your mom is like, she doesn't have a really good boundary system in place. So, she's like, but it's my son. Whose oldest is a daughter. Does he have a son though? I don't know. Does his oldest have a little bit more of a fiery energy? And I don't want to say masculine, but just like she's not a girly girl. It still feels like it might be a boy, but yeah. So no, I like here's the thing that's really, really hard. And I say this because I have siblings that one of them is very mentally ill, in the sense that she goes through almost like psychoses. Well, not almost. She does. I don't know that it ever really, I'd love to say it stops, but she's doesn't think she needs medication. She's not a very nice person. She leaves all like I've blocked her in every way that I can, and she still finds a way around to leave me voicemails. And she is mean and crazy, like delusional. I don't want to say crazy. I want to pick the words that are right. She's delusional. Um, and my mom would like for a long time would just shell out money for them and like tolerate all of their behavior. And it's abusive. It's financially abusive. It's emotionally abusive. And I got to the point where I was like, I can't help you with this because like my sisters would say to me, like, you just want mom to like you more. And so I really questioned my reality a lot because I would say like, it's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to say no. Like you don't have to just, and I finally said to her, I was like, you go to therapy because I don't know that I'm the person for you to come to about this. Like, I don't know that I want to make sure that you're getting like, a non-biased response to this. And of course, her therapist told her the same thing I was telling her. Oh, then I think it might be the son that ends up still following. So even if it's not his oldest, um, and my point being is like you're not going to be able to tell your mother anything, but it does feel like you'll be able to lead by example. So set the boundaries, don't tolerate the behavior, and if your mom is like droning on about how terrible it is, like, well, here's what I did. And also, like, I used to say, Mom, I set these boundaries because she would complain to me about them and stuff that was going on and struggling at a point. And I was like, I set these boundaries because I can't handle the stress of them in my life right now. Like, I have kids, I have like, so you get 10 minutes of talking, but I don't want to spend 3 hours talking about them. Like, then that defeats the purpose of me cutting them out of my life for my mental safety, my physical safety, and my children's mental and physical safety. So it just feels like her understanding that, yes, he's your child, but he's also an adult, but also setting the example and leading by example. Should that be your job as a child? No, but that's how everybody learns, really. Oh, why is it easier for you? And don't exhaust yourself trying to rescue everybody because it's exhausting. And it's hard to watch something. Thankfully, like my sisters don't have kids. So, like my one sister that's very, out there and not grounded in reality. Um, but she's somebody who needs a lot of help and won't take it and doesn't think there's anything wrong with her and like calls me and tells me that I need to stop doing this crap. I'm making tons of money. It makes her mad. It makes her mad that I support Black people's businesses. It makes her mad that I'm doing this work and I should follow Jesus. So, talking to demons. So it just feels like it's one of those things of like, it's frustrating to watch people struggle with all of that, but for your own mental health, it's sort of one of those things where you have to set the boundaries yourself. And I don't think he thinks he's doing anything wrong. It just does not cross his mind. Oh, she was the last message she left me. She was so angry. She's like, you make so much money, which I really, no offense to anybody, I do not make that much money yearly. I'm really excited for how well I do, and I know I'm going to grow, but I'm definitely not making the money to do things I'm making. Boundaries are hard and important. Um, they get easier. I'll put it this way. The more you learn to set boundaries and set healthy boundaries and understand that you're valuable and worthy and deserving of that, the easier it gets. Um, so many people who don't respect boundaries, they're expecting you to just tolerate whatever kind of behavior they want at your expense of your happiness because they deserve to be more happy than you do. Like, that's sort of the weird twistedness to it. And I don't wish anybody any ill will, that I've gone through, that I've had. But I just don't want to deal with that because it's not going anywhere. It's the same thing over and over. My brother's delusional about his capabilities and current future success. He thinks he's smarter than anybody in the room. So it's like, let him do that. Like, let him do that. Because it's, first of all, forcing the need to be like, no, but you have to see it this way. It's like, I don't know, with my sister, I'm like, whatever. I've tried talking to her. I've had lots of conversations with her, not in a long time. I haven't talked to her in 10 years. No, 4 years. Haven't seen her in 10 years. Someone like that is insensitive to it because they really have no empathy whatsoever. So you can connect with her, at least let her know that she's not delusional in her own experience. Because that's the person that needs the support. But you can't fix that, what he's got. She may march right behind him because he may get a different story for her. Or maybe a completely different story he gives her. Someone like him probably tells everybody a different story and nobody gets the real picture and always makes himself either the hero or the victim so that he doesn't have to take accountability. So he may completely bash you guys behind your back. And none of this is psychic. This is just self-preservation chat. And it is bizarre, but no. Roth, you just wanted a general reading? And Devery, it just, she agrees and supports everything, even when they end up. So again, it's one of those things where you, at some point for your own, when you're saving a drowning victim, you have to make sure you're a really, really strong swimmer and you're doing everything you can because they can drag you down with them. So it's kind of one of those things, don't spend your life worrying so much over them that they're going to drag you down with them. And again, it's not benefiting you. Genetic connection does not give permission to continue to be abusive just because you're genetically related. I keep feeling so it's they're if you have the idea of that, I feel like clothing or things like that, because it just feels and maybe even digital products, but it just feels like whether you realize it or not, yes, a recession happens, but there are still people with plenty of money to purchase products and that push you through that. I know everybody's like, oh, there's going to be a recession. There's this, that. I'm like, some of this, like when we look at the prices of food and goods and other countries are like, we're not having that problem. So there's some of this is a little bit of manipulation going on. Some of it is there's some stuff that's like happened, like a bird flu, whatever, but some of it is price manipulation, price gouging. Even when personally what I feel like I'm telling you what I feel, where it's like, try not to get into the idea of like people can't afford things. I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's like I saw t-shirts and clothing items. And I know it sounds weird, but phone cases, things like that, that like people are going to use no matter what, right? You're going to use a phone case. When I ask about like alcohol or food goods or thing like that, the thing with like alcohol is you run into like licensing issues, liquor licensing stuff. But even like with food goods, unless you have a distributor where you're not touching it and it's all going through food safety stuff, it feels like don't go that route. I actually, some of these smaller businesses where they're like, oh, I make my own potions, I make my own stuff. I'm like, if you don't have some kind of warning label on that, you are setting yourself up for potential lawsuit like crazy. And I think a lot of people don't think that way. I'm always thinking about lawsuits, not like just law, but like legal connections, because I was taught a lot about legal charting and like how to cover yourself. I have a lot of attorneys in my family, and I just, they're more, I don't know. So it just feels like eco-friendly products would be good. That's a way to move. People are moving in that thing, but it just feels like if you're doing that, then it's not an MLM, but where you're a distributor or something for it. I don't know. I feel like you'll figure it out. You'll find the ping of the thing. If anybody else has any intuitive suggestions, I know some of you on here do readings. All right, Rothka. I don't see you having a baby right now, but I see you holding a baby. So I don't know if you're traveling to see a new baby, like either a friend has a baby or a new, maybe even a family member on your spouse's side. But I just feel like a new baby coming in. But I don't feel like it's your new baby. Your cousin is due in June. Oh, yay. Okay, good. What a validation. Oh, I love that. Okay. Do you know if it's a she, if they know the sex of the baby yet? I heard she's going to be healthy. So I don't know if there's a fear or a worry around this pregnancy, but it feels like she's going to be healthy. Okay. As for you, it's like, I hate to say like, oh, I have this really big, but it feels status quo, doing what you need to do. You're doing a really good job. You're following your intuition really well. Like you're being open to doing the writing, being open to doing that stuff is really helping you, and that's what you're supposed to be doing. So there's no like, don't do this, don't do that. Like you're on the right path, you're doing the right things. And there's nothing whenever you've texted me, we're friends. I've never been like, "Ugh, don't do that." It's like, okay. I always feel like, yeah, that's good. Like, good. Yeah. Um, it just feels like I don't want to say it's like self-doubt or cynicism, so but it's just like kind of a I know because life has been not so easy for you, it's harder for you to get really excited because you don't want to be let down. But it feels like it's okay to get excited about the little things. You're packing a house, going to go abroad, and there's so much shifting and so much happening this year. You're just feeling stressed. Yeah. But it'll be okay. It just feels like you try not to get overwhelmed by the big picture. Like, oh my God, I have to do all of this. It's like, okay, I'm going to pack 3 boxes a day, or I'm going to pack because like that kind of a thing instead of doing, and I know that's easier said than done because we both really love deadlines and procrastinating to deadlines. Um, but it feels really important to just like go, it's okay for me to just pack 1 box today. I don't have to do it all. I don't have to have everything done. And I don't, it's like, what if you put the pressure on you to be like, I have to pack 1 box a day? Like I have to. Then it makes the end easier. And it feels like the travel is going to go smoother than expected and be more enjoyable than expected. And feel like being able to do the work that you do from anywhere works well, and surprisingly well. I was like, oh, like I really can do this from anywhere. I 1,000% understand that. But also, if you just trust that, I don't know, I think when I'm like manifesting growth and everything else like that, or um, developing certain connections, um, I just trust that like it's happened somewhere, some experience, some existence, and so I know it's going to happen for me, and I'm not worried about it. And like I do have to remind myself that, and like we don't ever miss the bus. I don't ever miss an opportunity. Everything always comes in, everything always happens, and maybe it's not happening as quickly as I wanted, but sometimes also when things happen quickly or really quickly, it's overwhelming, and then you like put the brakes on and kibosh the energy. So um we're weird. Humans are weird. I think we are. I think it's also kind of enjoyable to see how weird we are. Like even when we're like, like the miserable ones that come in, like this one, like on my live on TikTok that came in, and like one person's like, "Oh, this is all fake. You're a charlatan." And I'm like, I can't even imagine like being so unhappy to like just go into somebody's live and be like, "You're a quack." That's like, I mean, I roll my eyes at some stuff and I'm like, okay, moving on. Um, but like you really have to be in a low place to do that. Um, and then the other people are like, you need to follow Jesus. And I think, well, your God is the all knowing, all being, all wonderful. And like, you feel like you need to protect that. Like if that God who's all knowing, all seeing, all loving, created everything and is in everything, isn't like, if these folks don't follow me, like, that's also weird. That's also weird. I have so many weird questions about Christianity now that I'm like thinking about it. Like super petty God, like you can come into heaven, but you must believe in me. You must follow me and worship me. I don't know. You were miserable and sad and took your own life, but fuck you. Like, but I'm all loving. Like, what? I'm all loving, but if you don't bow down and accept me, then I just can't love you. Sorry. I'm sorry if it's what you believe. I know it's not what you believe, Rothka, but anybody who's watching. There's questions I have. Anyway, so all right. So I think we're done. We're done. I've been rambling for a long time today. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for supporting me. I'm sending all of you big hugs and love. You are not alone in this world. We are all interconnected. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Check out my TikTok. Come see me next week. I'll talk to you later. I don't know why. Oh, that's why, because you're hiding.